Okay, here's another technique that you actually, this is what we're going to be doing now, you actually get kind of a curve, but there are no curved lines in this, so you get an interesting op art effect. But this one does, you have to use a ruler and you need to be fairly precise with it. It can be kind of forgiving, but it has this kind of interesting Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole kind of look. So I'm going to show you how to use that. And even though you have to use a ruler, it's not as tedious as some of the other techniques in creating op art. I'm going to start like the other one. We'll start with a 6" by 6" square. And I probably need to use a pen so you can really see the lines pop on this. All right, so let me get a pen. Okay, for this, you get to spin your paper around. The only thing about this one is that you kind of have to keep track of corners. So you want to definitely give students a heads up on that, or kind of remember that yourself as you create one. Okay, so to start, and this is probably one of the most important parts, is the start of it. Notice how I'm going to make an angle like this. I'm going to start from the corner, and I'm going to come all the way down to the edge. All right, so I've kind of made this kind of shape. What I'm doing is I'm making this right here. Okay, now this is what's cool. I'm going to rotate the paper. I'm going to take this corner, and I'm going to go down to the edge of the paper again. So I'm always going to start with the corner. So notice how I'm starting with the corner. I'm not going all the way back up. I'm stopping at that corner I made. And then I twist. The only way that this one can get kind of off, and it can, is when you start using different widths for the base of these triangles we're making. So then I twist, and we're going to add another line. We'll start with my corner. Normally I would do this in pencil first, but so you can see what's happening. All right, so I've made one pass around, okay? So then I'm just going to keep going. So I'm going to take the ruler, line it up with the corner, and I'm going to keep going around and around and around, around and around. At least this one, it does keep you kind of engaged in the process because you're having to spin the paper around, so you're less likely to kind of zone out to your favorite music and stuff like that. The only thing, if you want to be super precise about this, as you move in towards the center, you want your triangles, the base of these triangles, to get less wide, just like in perspective. We want that illusion that it's going in. So in order to show that, you'll just start making them smaller as you make your way around and around and around and around. And you can stop it whenever you would like to. So there's not like a set amount. You just kind of have to go with it. Some people take them all the way, almost all the way to the actual center. If you want to, you can do that. I know you want to start on yours, so anytime you want to start creating your own op art, go for it. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon so that you have more time to work on yours. And I'm kind of overshooting my line, so sorry, because I'm using pen. I want to make sure you can see the lines that I'm drawing. But even though we're having to use a ruler, this design for me is fairly forgiving. Also with op art, I guess I should say this while I'm going round and round and round. If you have students that can use like Photoshop and Illustrator, you can also do some really interesting things with that software. I'm also the yearbook advisor, and last year we just went all in with op art, and that was our graphic theme. So we kind of played around with some of that in Illustrator and Photoshop. So technology can be amazing. But I'm just going to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. I'm going to stop this pretty soon so I can show you what's happened. And you can see these magical curves that are happening using straight lines, which I think is really neat. I love it when, as artists, we almost become like magicians, you know. we can do things that people might not think can exist. So, see how it's starting to curve in? You have a curve here, it's coming around, and a curve here. It almost, I like this one, I think, because it reminds me of Escher and the staircases, or as we call it in my class, crazy stairs. So when you get ready for this one, you just are gonna, you're gonna do the same thing that we do with op art. You're gonna go back and forth between your black and white, or you can use 2 colors. And you can keep on going farther and farther in if you'd like to, or you can stop it. You're gonna get more of an illusion of space if you keep going. The more you keep going, the more the illusion, the more depth you have. But this can actually get you on the right track. And as you go in and start coloring these, a lot of times you can like take your marker and actually accentuate these curves that are happening, because right now it's kind of dotty. So you could definitely kind of clean that up if you'd like to. So that's kind of using a ruler, keeping straight lines, but there's some wiggle room for error in that one. Okay, so since we're talking about lines, I'm going to show you a couple of more different ways to do this. You can also get into complementary colors if you'd like to. This can really drive somebody's eyes crazy. So this one was just one I did very quickly with some highlighters. And you can have shapes within shapes. You can have recognizable shapes. So instead of a sphere or circle, I could have put, a heart, or like in my case, our school symbol is a fleur-de-lis. I could have put that in there. I've had students do that, and it's super neat. So if you have students that are very patient, this is definitely a style that works. But once those lines get off, then you start having some issues, and it starts getting kind of wonky, as I call it. And sometimes there's really no way to fix that. Here's another example I started just to kind of show what happens. Like, you can have multiple shapes within your drawing. You can also play with a sphere, and when it bumps into the sphere, you will bump the curve and follow the curve of that so that it looks like it's, actually your stripes are bending over an object. This style is really popular. Your students may have done it, you may have done it, where you put your hand down and you draw it, and as you trace your hand, but on your fingers, wherever your fingers are, you'll put in the curved lines, and in the background you'll have straight lines to kind of show that. That works too. But yeah, colors can be great with this if you want to. All right, so hopefully there's a technique that you would like to try. There's so many of these out there. I just picked a few that have worked with my students in the past and given them a lot of success. Some of it depends on how much work you're willing to put into it and how precise you are, and what kind of results you want to get out of op art. So thank you, and now we're going to move on and create some op art.